Hey everybody, Matt Johnson here with another COVID-19 legal update. So, in consultation with some other lawyers, we've been kicking around some ideas, and I've been getting a lot of questions about return to work planning, return to work scenarios, and what employers can do when bringing employees back to work, and what they can do on a daily basis. And one of the things that's being recommended by the CDC, by other governmental bodies, is to have a temperature check of employees when they come to work. So I started thinking about it, and I watched a webinar where other lawyers who have been thinking about it started talking about this notion of taking temperatures. And when you think about it, do you really think somebody in your staff is going to be wanting to stand outside of the office and take everybody's temperature when they come in? Probably not. It does increase a little bit of the risk of possibility of contracting COVID-19. So one of the best practices that we are considering, and we're going to start working on trying to implement with our clients, is to have the employees themselves conduct a temperature check and to certify in some mechanism, maybe it's by email, maybe it's some other documentation, that they were not running a fever, that they're not exhibiting any of the COVID-19 symptoms. Is this a perfect system? No. As we all know, and as the CDC has repeatedly stated, somebody could have COVID-19 and be completely asymptomatic. But if they are sick, it's probably a good idea for that employee to stay at home. Now, I know we lawyers talk about all kinds of ways in which somebody is going to try and exploit the system. So imagine somebody who really, really wants to come to work, and for whatever reason, they might be running a slight fever in the morning, and they pop a couple of Tylenol, they get their fever down, they come into work, they're not running a fever, and then they're at work. Like every other medical test, it is a snapshot in time. It's not a guarantee sort of thing. But the concept of asking employees to certify that they're not carrying or they're not displaying any symptoms of the virus, that they're not running a temperature, these are things that you're going to have to kind of take the employee's word on. And it is something that maybe particularly if you have a large workforce, it might be worth having somebody else do the temperature checks, meaning have the employees do it themselves. And they have some sort of certification that they are not running symptoms. So, which leads to the question of, so what else can we do? What can we ask? And I've addressed this a number of times. So you can ask for temperature checks, and you can ask about the existence of underlying conditions. You can ask about the existence of symptoms, but you're going to be limited in what you can do. So as we go through the process of returning to work with employees, we are going to have to address some of the best ways in which to keep the workplace safe. And it's not always going to be the easiest. But fortunately, the CDC has an awful lot of information that's available that employers can use to align whatever testing they need to do with CDC guidelines. But here is the important part that I hope everybody understands. You're probably going to have to change those procedures over time, because we are learning more about this virus every day, and we're learning about how it operates, how it affects the body, symptoms, all kinds of things, and the CDC is constantly refreshing and updating that information. So if you happen to be a business owner, one of the first things that I'm going to recommend everybody do is jump on that CDC website every couple of days to make sure that your procedures are in line with what the CDC is saying. So when we're talking about workplace safety, we're also talking about OSHA. And OSHA has been pretty active in getting things ready to go for employees to come back to work. And there are literally half a dozen or more industry-specific type of flowcharts and information that are available for businesses in different industries, such as dentists or restaurants and bars or retail work or schools and camps. These kinds of things help business owners at least get started, gives you a place to go. So I highly encourage everybody to jump over to the CDC website regularly and the OSHA website. Put those links down below so that you can use them for your return to work planning. And finally, I get a lot of questions about what do I do if somebody needs some time off. And we're going to have a discussion about employees needing time off for the summer breaks in another video shortly. But I do want to stress, sometimes it's going to be easier to be flexible, but you also have an obligation to yourself and to your other employees to do your best to have your business as open as possible, operating as fully as possible, but you also have an obligation to your employees to help keep them safe. And that may mean that you have to, as one lawyer, Eric Meyer, said, hand out time off like candy and figure out what that's going to look like. Please consult an attorney when you're considering changing your PTO policies. You are required to maintain the paid sick leave policy and the EFMLA policies, and you can't supplement, or you can supplement, but you cannot substitute away your company PTO in favor of just this EPL. These are this PSL rather. Those are additional benefits that have been mandated by Congress. In the meantime, I hope everybody keeps safe, and we will talk to you later. Bye-bye.